Fordham Road all day, you know what I mean? I consider that like Mesopotamia, you know what I mean? That's literally where the modern sneaker civilization has started. The Fordham Road all day. My name is Jaeki Cho. I'm from Queens, New York. I have a channel called Righteous Eats where we highlight a lot of local mom and pop restaurants and eateries. I'm a full-time content creator, or a YouTuber as my mom would like to tell her friends. Modern sneaker culture shifted towards this ideal of creating prestige in the products. We grew up when the drop culture has really started to proliferate. Having a fresh pair of sneakers also meant a certain level of prestige. It boosted your self-esteem, especially for a lot of inner city kids where you didn't really have much. So having a fresh pair of sneakers, maybe once or twice that your mom gets to afford to buy you a new pair, it also drove a lot of ambition for a lot of kids, including myself. The first pair of sneakers I really wanted was the Nike Shox that first came out in '98. And at the time, the MSRP was $150. The crib that we were living in, the rent was $800. So my mom was like, there's no fucking hell that I'm copping you these pair of sneakers. I'm taking you to Payless and stick with the $18 joint. And even then, I was only 9 years old. I already knew, like, yo, pulling up to school with Payless, yo, dog, like, but you know, that builds character. I mean, I think you get to learn and start to adopt a lot more from your surroundings early because you kind of build this survival instinct. The US was like the third country I settled in, so I had to learn English as my third language. But luckily, you know, I grew up in Jackson Heights, Elmhurst, Woodside, Flushing, Queens, where you know, I consider those places as modern day Ellis Island. It's the hub where a lot of immigrant communities first settle in. That's kind of the foundation, the start. I was fascinated with hip hop culture growing up, and that evolved into me wanting to write about this art that I was obsessed with. So I got a lot of the training from, you know, working at Complex, working at XXL, you know, these media publications that taught me how to understand how to tell a story. Years later, when I had the opportunity to basically become a full-time content creator, essentially apply those same methods and the skill set that I've acquired. That's pretty much how it led to me starting Righteous Eats, because I noticed that during the pandemic, a lot of these mom and pop restaurants that didn't have access to PPP loans, that didn't have a venture backing them where they could afford to pay like $5,000 a month on like, you know, promo marketing and hire a PR agency. They just didn't understand where the media landscape was shifting. So by then I already had a little bit of a following on TikTok and Instagram. So I thought, yo, why don't I just start highlighting these mom and pop eateries, utilizing all these skills and the methods of storytelling that I've acquired over the years. And that was pretty much the genesis of Righteous Eats as a channel. A lot of the retailers, pretty much mom and pop shops in the hood, like in places like Fordham Road, like in places like, you know, Jamaica Ave, like in places like Junction Boulevard, where Fulton, where Utica Ave. You know, these were anchors because in those underserved communities, these mom and pop sneaker stores that used to be owned by Jewish or Korean American immigrants were the only anchors that you could get access to a fresh pair like this. And these businesses, they didn't want it to go directly to the quote unquote hood. Because yo, there's a lot more risk involved, right? So they needed the immigrants to own and operate these businesses over there. So in the 80s and the 90s, when this market was just starting to grow and the distribution still needed these type of mom and pop stores to champion these brands, yo, the businesses were booming for those mom and pop businesses. Like, yo, you got a new Jordan coming out. If you wanted to get them a week early, you go over there to Mr. Kim and Fordham Road, pay him an extra 20 bucks. You get them joints before anybody else in school. Like, that was a very common dynamic, because now, if you could afford it, I don't want to go camp. I don't want to go get possibly punched in the face by some young buck who has nothing to lose, who's trying to cut the line. I'm not trying to like pay for bots. It's like, yo, if I could afford it and I could come here and cop this for, yo, $234 instead of trying to fight for a pair, this is a curated marketplace that I could just come in, and as long as I could afford it, the exchange is smooth. So on the top, I have this hat that was knitted by a lady in Morocco. This right here is from Capital. This is also from Capital. This sweater, it's from a brand called Guest in Residence. Yo, I copped this piece when I was in Mongolia. Boom, there it is. I got this from Mongolia. This is Genghis Khan. The pants are from Gramici. The sneakers are Roger Pro 2. Shout out to On. I mean, yeah, you guys are a legacy brand. I remember like when y'all were next to like NYU back in the day, you know what I mean? I used to pull up over there, can't afford anything in the store, just like looking at the wall for like an hour straight until I get kicked out. This is definitely a biased take. I've been working with On, the Swiss running athleisure brand. The store that I was a partner in, Alumni, we were the first like lifestyle retail store that carried a brand in New York City. So when they dropped the Monster, the On Monster, which is in the purple colorway, it had a thicker sole. And I remember rocking those joints for my first New York City marathon. Yeah, like it had a very significant moment for me, you know what I mean? Because I was signed to them as a partner. I got to rock their newest and probably the most exciting sneaker that they had dropped up until that point. And I got to run my first marathon in those, you know what I mean? So the connection goes deep. It was an A-Life Nike Air Force One collab. It was all white leather and it had like star embossed on it. I do remember paying a price that I was very embarrassed to tell people at that point, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? But this was already like 12, 13 years ago. But yeah, it was like one of those first pairs that I actually copped from Flight Club. I would just tell him, yo, it's all good. It's just part of the journey, part of the process. That $18 pair, yeah, you might not feel prideful about it now, but yo, this is the best your mom could do right now. So it's okay. And if anything, because you got that $18 pair now, you're gonna eventually get to a point where you have too many sneakers that you don't even want sneakers anymore. So just understand that life is a marathon, it's not a sprint. You know, as long as you keep at it, as long as you're consistent, you'll get everything you want to the point that you don't want them anymore. You know what I mean? I would say these pairs right here, these designs and these products, they don't define who you are. I think a lot of brands, they want to tell the story that, oh, these sneakers signify a certain type of culture. But it's like, nah, bro. Y'all made the product, sold it to inner city kids, they made it about culture, right? It wasn't before the B-boys that the Pumas had no really relevance, right? It wasn't until these inner city kids started rocking them with the fat laces and untying them, it didn't have any relevance. Don't get fooled that, you know, what the brands are telling you is a cultural narrative. It's like, nah, like, yo, if you wanna go cop that $18 pair from Payless today and you wanna insert the culture behind that, I salute you for that, you know? But don't be dictated by the latest, you know, drop that they decided to put out and put hundreds of thousands of dollars in marketing behind it, and they purposely allocate only a few pairs so that it drives up market demand, and then now you think like, oh, you know, like I gotta go out of my way to cop that pair and now I'm part of culture. It's like, nah, it was never about that. And it shouldn't be about that. The pair that symbolizes I made it for me is the Nike Air Shox, the OG colorway. Now, the fact that I could go into a Foot Locker and say, yo, let me get this in every color, and I could afford to do that in some ways, like, yo, looking back, I'm like, yo, your boy worked hard. You know what I mean? So that's the pair for me. Yo, thank you, Flight Club. See y'all next time. Peace.